Don't forget, if you like my video and you want to support the channel, don't forget my mission with this channel is to try and grow the sport of rugby around the world by getting people connected to the game that may not be connected to the game. We've got some fans here in Mexico now. We've got people across the Caribbean that have been unfortunately impacted by Hurricane Beryl over the last couple of days, but they're rugby fans and they're part of our new and growing community here on Inside Rugby with Mark. So if you want to follow along and help me do that journey, the best way to do it is hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up so this YouTube algorithm sends my video out to more people and we can keep growing this wonderful rugby community. Now, welcome to the Inside Rugby with Mark preview show, and in this episode I'm going to be previewing the game that's going to be played at the Allianz Stadium in Sydney, Australia on Saturday between the Australian Wallabies and Warren Gatlands Welsh team. Let's get into it. Everyone, and welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. If you haven't been here before, my name is Mark and I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico, and we're just waiting for Hurricane Beryl to come and visit us later on today. So I thought I'd better pump out some more rugby videos because we've got a hell dinger of a weekend coming up with some fantastic games, and the one I'm going to talk about in this video is the match between Australia and Wales that's going to be played in Sydney on Saturday. So we've got the All Blacks against England first up, then we've got the Wallabies against Wales, and then we're off to South Africa to watch South Africa against Ireland. So it's a belter of a Saturday when it comes to rugby this weekend, and it's going to be really interesting, isn't it, to see Joe Schmidt's first team of the Wallabies go out and play against Warren Gatlands' struggling Welsh team this weekend. And the selections of the two teams have now been named, so in this video I thought I'd quickly go through those two teams for you so you can catch up with it, have a look at what I chose in my preview videos, and then we'll get into the predictions on what's going to happen in this game on Saturday. Now don't forget to leave me your comments on what you think, not only of the team selections, but how are each team going to play. That's going to be a really fascinating thing for me. We've got Australia under Joe Schmidt for the first time. Fascinating to see what kind of rugby he decides to play with this team. Are they going to get back to basics, or are they going to show us something a little bit different? On the other hand, Warren Gatland and his crew from Wales are going to be looking for a win, aren't they? It's been some time now, over 7 games they haven't won, and I'm sure that all the Welsh fans around the world are looking for a victory in this first test match in Australia. So let's start off with the two teams. Let's go with the visitors first of all, Wales, and have a look at their backline. Now, I wasn't too sure which way Warren Gatland was going to go here, and he's done something a little bit different than what I thought he was going to do, but he's put Liam Williams in at fullback, and of course he's a good fullback. He's got a lot of experience in that position. He plays well there, and I think they're looking for a little bit of stability at the back. Cameron Winnett, I like Cameron Winnett. He's been playing really good rugby. I think they've got to stick with him and just give him a little bit more experience, but for this game Williams is in there. Then we move on to the wings, and for Wales we've got Dyer on one wing and we've got Hathaway on the other wing. So there was one of the surprises for me, Hathaway getting into this team and starting on the wing. Moving into the centres, and Gatland has decided to stay with that pairing that was up against South Africa, and that is Watkin at outside centre and Grady at inside centre. I thought there might have been a little bit of a switch around there with Grady going out to outside centre. That has not been the case, and it'll be Grady starting at inside centre. We move into the 9 and 10 position, and it's been a problematic, hasn't it, this position for Wales for a while now, and we're going to see at number 10 Thomas coming in. So this is going to be really interesting. Costello has been put on the bench for the start of this game, and Warren Gatland's going to go with Thomas to see how he goes at number 10. Number 9, Bevan's been given another go at halfback, which surprises me a little bit, although some of you have been saying in the comments that he probably deserves to be there better than what Davies has been playing at the moment, and that's reflected in the squad and also with the substitutes as well. So there we go, that's going to be the starting back line for Wales in this game. So looking at the substitutes in the backs for Wales, and we've got Kieran Hardy for the halfback replacement, we've got Costello coming on, and we've got Tompkins coming on as well. So Costello is on the bench, and he will get some time in this game. So there we go, that's the back line for Wales. Pretty strong, pretty good. and be really interesting to see how they go, particularly with Williams at fullback. I think that might make a little bit of a difference, even though I'm a Cameron Winnett fan, so figure that one out. Jump over to the forwards for Wales, who are starting this game, and first of all at number 8 and at the back of the pack is going to be Aaron Wainwright. I don't think this position was up for grabs other than Wainwright. I think he's been playing very well so far for Wales, and he needs to put in another big performance, of course, against the team. And then moving into the flankers, the loose forwards for this game for Wales starting is going to be Plumtree. He's going to stick with that position. Warren Gatland, he's giving Plumtree another go, and on the other side we've got Tommy Raffle, and Raffle has been playing very, very well. So that goes to show that Warren Gatland is rewarding those players that are stepping up for Wales. Moving on into the locking positions, this is going to be an important positions for Wales to see how much set piece they get, and Jenkins is going to be one of the locks and Shinunza is going to be the other one, and this is really good because this is bringing big raw power to the Welsh pack, and then that's what I think they need. Not only now, moving into the front row for Wales, and we've got Griffin, Lake and Thomas. So Dewey Lake, of course, in there at hooker, and Thomas and Griffin are going to be the two props. I did put in my preview video that I thought Domachowski was going to get a go as one of the props. A few of you knocked me down on that one, and quite rightly so, because I was wrong again. And that's been the chosen few for Warren Gatland to start this team. So a good pack. I think there's plenty of power there. There's also good work at the breakdown there for Wales, and I think that's going to be a really important part of this game. So who's going to come off the bench in the forwards for Wales? And in this game we're going to see Lloyd, Matthias, O'Connor, Hill and Botham. That's going to be the bench for Wales. Now, once I've announced the Australian team in this video, I'm going to talk about how effective I think that bench is going to be against this Australian team, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so that's the Welsh outfit that's going to start and finish the game on Saturday against Australia. Pretty strong team. I'm interested to see how these new back combinations go, and see how Thomas goes at number 10. It's a pivotal position. It's a position Wales have had problems with, I think, over the last few games, and we'll see whether Thomas in conjunction with Bevan can make a difference there in that 9 and 10 position on Saturday. Okay, let's have a look at the Australian team, and I'm really excited about this Aussie team because first of all, I don't know too much about them. Some new faces in here that I haven't seen play, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how they go. So in my review video that comes out after the game, I'm probably going to have a lot more to say about these guys, so bear with me on that one until I've seen some of them and do the rounds at Allianz Stadium on Saturday. So starting off in the back three for Australia, and there was a few interesting selection options here for Joe Schmidt, and he's decided to go with Wright at fullback and put Callaway on the wing. I thought Callaway was going to get a start at fullback, and on the other wing we've got Dangunu, and he's a great player as well, but he can also play outside centre, so he's been put on the wing for this particular game. Okay, then coming into the centres for Australia, outside centre is going to be Fluke, and inside centre is going to be Paisami, and that's a good combination there as well. Going to be really interesting to see how this midfield performs against this Welsh defensive line, and whether or not this Welsh defensive line is going to be able to hold out these Australians. Another one of those international teams that's been struggling with their number 10 over recent times. You might remember Carter Gordon in there at the Rugby World Cup. Didn't go too well for him, and as a result of that, he's actually decided to change his career path and head off to Rugby League. He's gone to the Gold Coast Titans, and he's going to be playing there, and he's got Joe Schmidt's blessing, so I think that says something in itself. So Carter Gordon just didn't quite work out there at number 10 for the Australians. He was thrown into the deep end, I must say that. So they've been looking for someone to be able to cement that position for a while, and in this particular selection, Joe Schmidt has gone with Lolesio, and we'll see how Noah goes in his number 10 opportunity against Wales. This kid has got some potential. I haven't seen it on a consistent level yet, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Inside him at number 9 is going to be Gordon. So the Australian backline looks pretty interesting Australian backline, and I haven't seen some of these guys play. So again, I'm going to hold my judgment until after the game and just see how it works out. I have no idea what strategy Joe Schmidt's going to be going for. I would suggest that he's probably going to try and go back to basics with this Australian Wallabies team and get them going forward on the front foot first. So that's the starting back line for Australia. Let's have a look at the reserves that are going to come on, and it's going to be Tate McDermott, of course, in the halfback position. A lot of you would have seen him play the Rugby World Cup last year. And then Tom Liner's going to come in. Many of you will remember the name Liner. Yes, Michael Liner, of course, a good, great and fantastic Wallaby number 10 of years gone past. And then the third back reserve for the Australians in the back line is Pietic, and he's going to be coming on for the Wallabies as a utility selection in the backs. So again, I'm really keen to see how this Australian back line performs against Wales. Going to be a really good litmus test for them before they get into the Rugby Championship. So it's going to be an opportunity, I think, for Joe Schmidt to see how these combinations work out. Now let's have a look at the Aussie forwards and see who's going to be starting the game. By the back three that Joe Schmidt's chosen for this game. At number 8, we've got Valentini. A lot of you would have seen him play in the Rugby World Cup. Still not quite at the level for the Wallabies that he needs to be at, but he is a good player, and he brings a lot of pace and height and strength into that number 8 position. And then the two loosies for Australia in this game, Fraser McWright on one side, and we've got Wright on the other side. So a couple of Wrights in this team for Australia, and they're going to be a couple of good loosies. So this is an area that I think Joe Schmidt is targeting for this Australian team to try and beat Wales comprehensively at the breakdown situation. So we'll see whether Wright, Mick Wright and Valentini are able to pull that off. Moving into the locking position for Australia for the start of this game, and we've got Solokai Lotto, a big boy, and he's going to bring a lot of presence in the set pieces around the field. And then we've got Williams in the other locking position. So Australia going to bring some big height and some big weight into this game. So the front row is a big one for Australia, and we've got Taniela Tupou as one of the props, Matty Faisla as the hooker, and James Slipper as the other prop. So Slipper, of course, bringing a lot of experience to this Wallabies group, and particular into that front row. So here's going to be a big matchup for the game. I'm expecting the Wallabies to really take it to Wales in the scrums and the set pieces, and we'll have to see how that plays out. Okay, let's look at the Wallabies bench in the forwards and see who they're going to be bringing on. And they've got Pollard, Ado Kaela, Alalatoa, Blythe and Kale. Those are the ones that will be coming on in the forwards for Australia. So there we go, a pretty good team for Joe Schmidt's first pick at the selection. Well, we'll have to wait and see whether it's a good team or not by the result. But I think this is going to be a really interesting game. Now, there's so many different facets to this game, isn't there, between Wales and Australia. You've got Joe Schmidt, head coach of the Wallabies for the first time, his first test team coming out and taking on Wales. A team that's desperate for a win under Warren Gatlands, and he's been trying to jink around with the team selection a little bit, Warren Gatlands, to see whether he can just find that right combination that goes for 80 minutes. I thought Wales did quite well against South Africa at different times of that game, but I think it also showed their weakness, and that was the start of the game where the Springboks got really on top of Wales in the first 20 minutes. And I think that's went a long way for them to lose that game, because they didn't start off well. Against the Wallabies, they're going to have to start well. The Wallabies at Allianz Stadium in Sydney are going to have a big home crowd advantage. They're going to bring out all the momentum. They're going to want to play hard under Joe Schmidt and for Joe Schmidt in this first game, and just prove that they're worthy of their selection choices. And I think that's going to be a big component of this game for the Australian Wallabies. Some of those guys that are getting their chance this weekend are going to want to prove to that coaching team that they've made the right choices, and they're going to want to play the rest of the season in their position. So they've got a lot to prove. On the other hand, Wales, they need a win, and they need a win desperately. 7 on the trot without winning, and now they're on the other side of the world, away from all their Wales and Welsh media and all the noise that's going on about Welsh rugby, and they're down there to focus on the game at hand, and I think that's going to be a blessing for this Welsh team. My gut feel on this one is the Australian forwards are going to have too much for the Welsh, and I think in terms of the set piece and also the loose forwards, I think they're just going to get in there and get those clean outs in the breakdowns a lot better than what the Welsh team are. Don't underestimate the Welsh back three though. I think they're very, very good, but I think they're coming up against an Australian trio that on the day, if they're playing well, they're just as good as anyone going around, and I think we will see that on Saturday. But where it comes to the question mark for me is both backlines. I don't know what's going to happen here. We've got new number 10s coming in for both teams. They've got a lot to prove. There's a lot of pressure on those guys in those positions, and I don't know whether we're going to see some kicking, whether we're going to see a lot of running. The proof is going to be in the pudding, so to speak, because I've got no idea what's going to happen. It's one of these videos that I'm going to enjoy making the review video after the game rather than trying to predict what the heck is going to go on between these two teams. There you go. There's a lot to play for, isn't there, this weekend in this game between Australia and Wales. It's going to be really, really interesting. Now, don't forget to drop me your comments on the team selections, what you think. Who do you think was a little bit unlucky and missing out for either team, Wales or Australia? And what do you think the strategy is going to be for Joe Schmidt in this Wallabies team? Do you think we're going to see an open, expansive game? Or do you think they're going to go back to basics and just try and get the win in this first game? I'd really like to hear from you. Now, don't forget, if you like my video and you want to support the channel, don't forget my mission with this channel is to try and grow the sport of rugby around the world by getting people connected to the game that may not be connected to the game. We've got some fans here in Mexico now. We've got people across the Caribbean that have been unfortunately impacted by Hurricane Beryl over the last couple of days, but they're rugby fans and they're part of our new and growing community here on Inside Rugby with Mark. So if you want to follow along and help me do that journey, the best way to do it is hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up so this YouTube algorithm sends my video out to more people, and we can keep growing this wonderful rugby community. Now, when you drop me a comment, don't forget to tell me where you're sitting and watching from, because I'd love to hear from you. I want to see where we're touching all around the world with this rugby passion of mine, and I'll be back again after the games in the weekend with my review video, so make sure you watch out for those. It's going to be a lot to be said, I'm sure, after the games this weekend. Until then, everyone, stay safe, stay well, keep enjoying your rugby, and I'll see you again really soon from here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. It's time to say adios. Bye for now.